All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Jackson here with Purpose Power Profits, how to increase your impact on the world. Look, I know you guys have seen me with the Zoom screen, behind the scenes, everybody's in their own little location, geographically separated, but this time I get to sit down in person with one of our influencers and thought leaders on entrepreneurship, Mr. David Shands. Sleep is for suckers. If you are not aware of what he has going on, I highly recommend you go out and follow this brother. He's serial entrepreneur, has a shop in the mall and perimeter mall, you name it, books, Black Wall Street, speaks across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome, Mr. David Shands. How you doing, brother?
I'm amazing, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited this morning. I'm ready to get into it, man. I love what you're doing. First off,
appreciate it.
It takes. Here's what I see. There are going to be a lot of speakers. And like to separate yourself, you got to do stuff like this. Like anybody can speak, but not everybody believes in their own message. To say, yo, I'm gonna do telesummits, I'm gonna do a tour across the country. So I was looking at it this year. Well, I give you the whole pattern. So I started a clothing line and called Sleep is for Suckers, and I was like, wow, I'm doing this clothing line. Everybody's loving it. But then as I got into the clothing industry, I realized there's a whole bunch of other people who have clothing lines.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start teaching how I went from my job to my dream, how I built the clothing brand to the point where I can make money from it. Because I know, surely, not everybody that starts a clothing line is going to teach how to do it. So I was like, yo, to separate myself, I'm going to start teaching it. And I started teaching it. Then I started getting around all these teachers. I'm like, oh, so y'all teach how to be successful too.
Right.
So I was like, oh, surely all the people who do something and start teaching it, they're not going to write a book. So I'm going to write a book. I got to create this separation.
Absolutely.
So I wrote a book. It's doing well. Then I got around all these authors. I'm like, yo, everybody write books?
Right.
And I said, surely they're not going to start throwing out content on YouTube and like really speaking on the book and giving out a bunch of content. So that's one thing I do realize is a lot of authors, they don't put the content out there, right? So I'm like, create that separation. And then I got around this elite group of people who really put out a bunch of content. I said, you know what, though? You know what? Okay, people build a business, they teach how to do it, they write a book, and then they start putting out content, but not everybody is going to fund their own tour around the country. So I sat down with Janae and my partner Brandon, so we're going to do a tour. Okay, because these other content creators, they're not going to put out that. I'm in your face. So I say all that to say, you got to continue to create separation at every level and think of, okay, what are the people in my space not doing? And that is exactly what you're doing. So that was the longest intro ever.
No, but that was perfect. I appreciate it. No, I mean, I think it's very important for entrepreneurs, not just entrepreneurs, all of us to constantly be reinventing ourselves. Absolutely. You know, always looking for how can we become better at whatever it is that we're doing. So that's really what it's all about. That's how we separate ourselves, create differentiation. Absolutely. So if you will, man, just, I guess, kind of tell us your story. What makes you the expert who you are, starting out from where you started with Cheesecake Factory to where you are right now?
Right. I was actually telling one of my clients last night that my story has no like drama really to it. I am so regular. Like, and sometimes I think like, man, I wish I did have like the homeless story. Like I used to be homeless, sleeping in my car. Right. I wasn't. Right. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get bullied. I didn't, none of that. Right. However, I'm extremely regular and average, and I think that's where my market is. The average person who just has a job, they might be doing okay, but they just want a little more.
Right.
So I worked at the Cheesecake Factory, making about $500-$600 a week, which was okay to take care of myself. Right. But I always wanted to take care of my mom. Like I was like, yo, that $600 a week is not enough to take care of me and my mom. You know what I mean? Right. So that was just the mindset. I said, yo, I got to figure out a way to at least double my income, because if I double my income, then I can take care of me and my mom. But then I started making extra $600 a week on the side in my business, and I said, yo, if I can do $600 a week in my business, imagine if I was doing it full time. So I wound up quitting my job, opened up a kiosk in Cumberland Mall, but that posed a problem. So I'm making $600 a week at my job, $600 a week in my business. And then I quit my job, so I'm back to 600. Right. But it's the chance to grow, and I just took that plunge and quit my job at the Cheesecake Factory. But I did not jump out on faith. Okay, I want to stress that. Not just, don't quit your job like, oh, God told me this morning, whispered in my ear, yo, quit your job today. Okay, right. Listen, that was all you. You heard that. Right. You heard you say that. Right. But I teach people how to build that bridge. So I was building my business while I was working on my job. So when I quit my job, I had a flow of business. And now I can build on top of that. So went from the Cheesecake Factory, built my own business, took all my money, put it at a kiosk in the mall and said, I'm going to try this thing out. And went from that to teaching people, then wrote a book, then I create content. Now we tour the country. And we have a coaching program where I'm teaching people how to do just that.
Awesome. So, you tell people not to quit your job. And so before we got started, Janae was explaining something to me about the windows. Talk to people about the window concept on how they can really build their business in those windows. I guess laps when they're not doing a whole lot on their job.
Absolutely. We all have these windows of time. Most people say, I don't got time. Right. Well, you got 24 hours and your day is not full. 24 hours? Right. You mean to tell me your day is packed 24 hours every minute of the day? Right. Absolutely not. Right. So Janae is a perfect example of that because she still works in corporate and she's in these windows of time, whether it's on her break, before work, after work, these late night conversations where she got to go do a corporate presentation in the morning. Like there's these little windows where you got 30 minutes before you go to bed and you could build that thing. Your lunch break for an hour, instead of scrolling on Instagram, talking to your fake work friends, which you don't really like that anyway, right. You could be building. So while I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, I created windows during the shift. If I had time where I put the person's order in, they're okay with their drinks, I would go to the back, go on my phone, make a little post on Twitter, right? I was setting up like, hey, just come up to the Cheesecake Factory, come about 4 o'clock, I'm going to leave, grab the shirts out my car, sell the shirts, come back in, windows, while their food was being cooked. Right. Windows. We got to look at the windows.
I love it, man.
So it's so dope that, I have 2 partners, Janae and Brandon, and Janae is like a living testimony because her job is real demanding, but she's managed to build a 6-figure business in 12 months in the windows. Right. You know what I mean? And then you have other people. So what she can't do, I do. What I can't do, Brandon does. And team is very important. There's so many things. Oh, there's so many layers of entrepreneurship. Yeah, Janae can actually do this interview.
I believe it. Look, we had a real good conversation before we started. She is amazing. Yeah. And we are at the Entrepreneurial Complex, guys, in Chamblee, Georgia. I promise you, you want to get out here, see this facility. It is amazing. They have several more phases that they're going to roll out so that you guys can really have an environment and a culture of entrepreneurship right here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So amazing facility. So now you're traveling the country. You're speaking with Eric Thomas and the likes. I mean, some real major influences in the space. What are some of the lessons that you've learned in terms of growing your brand and growing your business as you continue to elevate and go to higher levels?
Know you're dope, but know you suck at the same time. So here's the thing. Oh, it's so crazy. So I have a confidence that I'm good at what I do. And I mean, I was on tour with Eric Thomas, Jeremy Anderson, and Inky Johnson. Mm-hmm. And these are phenomenal. I mean, these are some of the best in the game. Right. And at first I was thinking like, yo, what am I doing here? Right. who do I think I am on stage with these guys? Right. But then I had to develop the confidence and, it was really between CJ and Inky just kept encouraging me. And like Inky's all over the world. I mean, on ESPN, all this kind of stuff, right? And he kept telling me, he's like, yo, man, I can't do what you do. He's like, yo, nobody can do what you do. He's like, yo, if I tried, I'd fail. Like, yo, you are dope at what you do. And I was like, wow, I got my lane. Right. And there'd be people who come up to me like, hey, man, those are phenomenal speakers, but you are my favorite, right? So that gave me a sense like, yo, I do have a market, I have a person I'm talking to. But I also got to know that I suck at the same time because I got to go up like right before Eric Thomas. And every time I look like, ooh, I got to get back to the drum board. Yeah. And then I come up after Jeremy Anderson, who speaks all across the world. I'm like, oh, I got so much work to do. The moment where you think you're too dope, that's when you start growing. Mm. And I thank God I was on tour with these guys, Willie Moore Jr. and like these people who are like masters at their craft. So the confidence in knowing, listen, I belong here. But at the same time, like, I'm nowhere near where I need to be to get to where I want to go.
Right.
So that's one thing I've learned is just being stuck in the middle. Know you're dope, but know you suck at the same time. Yeah.
So what are some of the practical steps that you've taken, whether it's specific, workshops, conferences, books, podcasts? What are some of those practical steps, your systems and personal routines to make sure that you stay laser focused and can continue to make progress forward?
I throw a couple out there. Get connected to the right people. And how you get connected to the right people is you find out who you want to model and contact them. Make them tell you no 4 times. So if you're on social media today, send a DM. If they reply, say, hey, can we get together? They'll probably say, well, at some point I'm traveling or whatever. You reach back in a couple of weeks, make them tell you no multiple times. So I think, and I don't know if this had any influence, but I asked CJ to open up for ET at least 4 times. At least. And he'll push me off like, nah, I don't know. He's like, I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know. Every time I saw him.
Right.
He gave me a whole bunch of I don't knows, but he never said no. So until I get a no,
absolutely,
I'm going to keep asking. And then you got to tell me no 4 times.
Because I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Always stay stuck in the middle. So find someone to lead and find someone to follow. Find someone to follow so you can continue to learn the game. But also go to a local high school, college, your niece, nephew, and teach them something that you're learning from the people that you follow. So if you stay stuck in the middle, you'll always continue to grow. You'll always be able to teach. And I believe teaching is the best form of learning. So
Absolutely.
You'll learn more. What else? Oh, if you have a job, I have this formula in my book called $100 off days, where my goal was to make $100 on each off day. So this might help somebody. If you work 5 days a week, you got 2 off days. You need to set an income goal. How many products am I going to sell? How many digital downloads? How many books am I going to sell? Whatever. How many services am I going to provide in those off days? And you can start to build from there. So if you can consistently, I don't know, if you're a massage therapist, you can do 1 massage every off day. That's 2 a week. If you could do that consistently for a month, it's time to step it up the next month. Can we do 2? And you might average 1, and then 2, then 1, then 2. Can we get consistent with 2? So those off days are super important. Those are your windows.
Absolutely.
Right? I got a whole bunch of, if it's a specific thing, I got practice steps. You're going to write a book, create an outline of what you want. Well, first off, say what the topic's going to be. Then create 10, 12 topics of what you want to talk about. So if the book says, first love yourself, what is the first part of loving yourself? Appreciating your past, being appreciative of where you are, have a goal or whatever. If you have this outline, then you can go back on each one of them and write as much as you can on each outline. So I think everything has a formula to it, and that's what I do. I teach formulas.
Absolutely. I love it. So, speaking of books, I know you're an avid reader. So what are some of the books, I'll say maybe your top 3 books that have really made an impact on you and shifted your perspective in terms of what's possible, or just some ideas that you've taken and put into business?
I can't really give 3. The Bible has 66 books.
I
can't say which one's better.
That's the manuscript. I'm with you.
Yeah, but I think it's not necessarily a top, because it might be a book that's not that good and you find a nugget in it. And you as an entrepreneur, we can't even really enjoy movies anymore because we're watching the movie and you pull a principle like, ooh, that's a principle.
Like,
I don't know about you.
I can use that.
I'll be writing my notes like, ooh, that was good. I'm going to use that. Absolutely.
It's funny you say that because, when I was on active duty, people kept saying, hey, you should watch The House of Cards. I'm like, no, I'm not really into TV like that, especially politics. And so I start watching this. My son and I on a Saturday start binging it. And I'm like, oh, that's some dope strategy right there. I gotta try that. So no, you're right. You're definitely spot on.
Yeah, it's hard to give like a top 3 books.
Right.
I will say this: get as much information as you can.
Right, absolutely.
Because I don't even read whole books. We have a book club, and I generally get through like the first 3-4 chapters of the book, and then we're on to another book. It's not about reading a whole book, but if I can get one piece off of one page, that can change your life, I mean, would that be my favorite? Like if you say it's like a paragraph that really helps you take your game to the next level.
Right.
Is that your favorite book? I don't know. What if you got one piece from 10 different books? Which one's your favorite?
Right. I'm with you.
So continuing to grow, but I will say read, because it helps with not only understanding, but being able to, it helps with your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
And, yep.
Awesome to hear. I want you, David, if you don't mind, and pause if you have to for a minute, but I want you to share exactly why they need to be at Purpose Power Profits, how to increase your impact on the world at the E-Complex on June 10th here in Atlanta.
Absolutely. I think we all have a purpose. We all have a passion. We also want to make profit, and maybe not profit in money, but profit is getting more out of something that you put in, and you want to get more out of a relationship than you put in, or I think there's something here that you need. If you're watching this, especially if you're at the end, if you watch this whole thing, that means it's something valuable, right? Which means like you really need to find out the rest of it. Listen, I travel the country and I do interviews and I do speaking and all that kind of stuff. It is so much information. I don't even know what's going to come out.
Right.
But something's going to come out for you. And if you are going to take it to the next level, here's one thing I know about you, and I don't even know you, but I probably spent more on self-development than you. Jay has probably spent more on self-development than you. And that might be the whole issue, right? Because you're not investing in yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you're not I'm not talking about the you can go on YouTube and learn. I'm talking about like put a seed in the ground.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Put a seed in the ground so you can grow something in your own life, okay? Outside of you learning, sow into this particular ministry, you would be surprised how much you reap just by sowing. Yeah. This guy came to me, he was at my event. It was a free event last Thursday. And my man came up to me and gave me $100. He said, yo, this event was free, but look, I already got what I was going to get. But I want to give you this money. I just need to put a seed in the ground.
Yep.
I gave him my number. I said, yo, listen, I'm more attracted to that. Like, yo, if you need something, let me know. If he calls me, what am I saying? Yo, I ain't got time for you?
Absolutely.
Just because he understands putting a seed in the ground. So that thing is going to reap a whole harvest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, guys, it's an investment. I promise you the return on your investment will change your life. It will change your business. I'm a perfect example of it. We were talking before we got started here. I did not imagine I would be doing the things that I'm doing today if you'd have talked to me 3, 4, 5 years ago. But now I am able to sit down and say through investing in myself, workshops, conferences, books, coaching, I'm now able to sit down and hold conversations with people who are growing and making a huge impact on the world. We want to teach you everything that we know so that you can then become a teacher and start helping others learn and grow as a result of your wisdom, experience, and knowledge. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
Hold on, we're not done, are we?
Oh, you want to keep going?
One more questions, man.
Oh, man, my bad.
You gotta kick me out. No, I ain't going nowhere.
It's all about you. You don't have to go nowhere. All right, so here's the deal. All right, so since we're not going anywhere, since we're gonna keep talking. All right, so how would you? So you got the E-Complex, right? What is the vision? What is the ultimate vision for the E-Complex?
The E-Complex is a content creation studio. I think where we're at in the world is content is king. Just being able to produce content. So we got 2 big photography areas where people come do their photo shoots, their content videos. I do a lot of videos here. You'll see with the white background. I do it right here. We got a podcast room. So it's a very functional building. But the biggest key is getting a bunch of entrepreneurs together to share thoughts. Mm-hmm. So on any given night, we probably have 10, 12 entrepreneurs here. If we do an event, it's going to be 50 to 60 all in this room. Me and my friend Donnie, we got an event here called the Entrepreneurs Exchange, where we're going to teach something for a while, but then we get into Q&A mode. So the crowd will ask me a question, but before I answer it, I give someone in the crowd an opportunity to answer the question that their brother or sister next to them asked.
Right.
And typically, it's a great answer, right? realizing that, all the answers we need are in the same community.
Yep.
So if we are going to birth millionaires out of this complex, like people who are going to be running $400, $500, $600 million companies because they got in the right environment.
Absolutely.
They had the tools and the resources. Because if you just at your house and you got a cell phone, I mean, you can produce content, but not at a high level.
Right.
But even with those same materials, if you're around other minds thinking and say, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. We're about to implement this this day where we all just get together and we just work on whatever we're working on. This ain't a whole lot of conversation. If I'm working on designs, you're working on your book, you over there working on something else, we just in the environment, some music playing, and we just grinding.
Yeah, and I mean that's the mastermind principle.
Absolutely.
You know, that's where the money is really in the ideas. And I think a lot of people lose sight that, you know, I don't want to share my idea out of fear that you might take my idea or and I tell people I have ideas and I'll just give them to you sometimes because I just want to give you the idea so you can take it and grow and flourish because there's no limit on ideas. And the more our minds get together and we're actually able to, you know, tap into each other, you know, that's really truly where the harmony comes in place and all the intelligence comes in. That's amazing. So with that in mind, who's your target customer for the e-complex? Who are you looking for?
Anybody who has a job and a dream, generally between the age of 28 and kind of 40. Okay. My focus is creating a bridge between your job and your dream. How are you going to get out of that situation that you're in to pursue that passion? And anybody that, you know, we have a couple of people that just quit their job from our coaching program. So our coaching program is one of the biggest reasons why we did this. Sleepless Nights Coaching. We have clients from all across the country who are on calls twice a week. 3 times a week. I teach calls Sunday and Wednesday. We have a special guest every Wednesday, and we have a speakers training call on Thursday. Okay. And it's just the environment. It's so crazy too. They came here to get information from me, right? But like they're literally creating movements amongst themselves.
Absolutely.
And commerce is going on amongst themselves. Like people are shopping with each other. It's an amazing. If you don't know about Sleepless Nights, you definitely need to be a part of the program. So how's that, Janae? They good? Good.
Where did that the concept? So I'm guessing it's an online virtual coaching program. Mm-hmm. Where did that concept come from, and how did you build it?
Well, I had a coach, and I realized how much I was growing from having a coach, and so I started coaching other people. And I am not a hypocrite. I only wrote a book because I understand like what books have done for me.
Right.
So I read books. So then I wrote a book to tell the people. Mm-hmm. I had a coach. And then I started coaching people because there are a lot of coaches who don't have a coach. Right, you're a hypocrite. You tell people to do something you're not
doing yourself.
Exactly, you're not eating your own cooking. Right. So, I just felt like I had a message, and people would come to me and I help them one-on-one. But I was like, listen, we can help thousands, and I can not only pour into people, but as I pour into them, they can pour into the group, and I'm real big on environment. So that's what we created, a phenomenal environment.
Healthy culture.
Absolutely.
Cool. So you talked earlier about having, like, I guess I think it was Janae who brought up the fact that you have the nonprofit. Mm-hmm. How does all of that fit into, your ministry? Because I imagine, this is your ministry. How does all of that tie into each other?
We initially started a nonprofit to kind of help kids build entrepreneurship, but we had the vision was this. The vision has never changed. Our goal is to build entrepreneurial colleges for kids and be able to teach kids entrepreneurship. So we built a nonprofit as an avenue to get there.
Gotcha.
But as we haven't been as active with our nonprofit because we've been building we built a profitable company so that we can get the complex so that we can circle back and be more active with the nonprofit now. Now we have a space where kids can come. So I'm not asking, I don't need a grant for anybody to bring some kids into a space. So we're more active. Well, it'll be this year. We're more active with our nonprofit side where we're doing things in the community. Not that we've ever stopped, but yeah, I think you have to have a goal. You have to have a destination. And there's going to be a bunch of different roads that will take you there.
Right.
And if the road that you're on has a roadblock or something like that, you just go on another road. But never change the goal. And I think too many people change the goal when that road doesn't work. They're like, oh, I can't go to that goal anymore because it's roadblock. This is crazy.
So I know you, again, I want to stick with ministry a little bit longer simply because what I do is my ministry. And I think a lot of times we get a negative connotation when we talk about ministry, money. And I tell people, like, look, in order for this ministry to keep moving forward, I got to have some money to keep the lights on. I gotta have the resources to be able to push things, the mission forward. What's your response, to anybody who says, look, you can't say ministry and money at the same time?
Well, my thing is, for me personally, it's two separate ideas. So I don't speak in churches because I don't teach entrepreneurship in churches. Now that might be a valuable thing people need to know, but church is a very, very sacred place for me. Gotcha. So my ultimate goal, actually, I think it is Luke 22. Is it? Maybe I could be wrong, but the end result of our faith is salvation. So that's one lane. Like when I'm in church, I think church. Like I don't speak in churches. I speak in communities and stuff like that just for me personally. I don't think God cares whether we build businesses or have a regular job, as long as we honor Him and obey His laws. So that's just my personal belief.
I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to just being a part of everything that you've got going on. Yeah. Thank you for allowing us to join you at this stage of your journey. I know we're going to transform lives. I know we're going to transform businesses. That is really what it's all about at the end of the day. Each one of the experts that are coming and partnering with me on this journey, man, they are just truly passionate about helping people. We're just here to serve. And so for me, that's really what it's all about. I mean, your team, from Andrea to Janae, everybody is just first class, man. First class. So I appreciate it. Appreciate it, brother. All right. Hey, the E-Complex, June 10th, David Shands, Purpose, Power, Profits. Go out, make the investment. It's going to be magical. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.